talk about school counselors.
Yes.
You talk about counselors, you think about counselors on campuses, and there's generally a fairly traditional definition of that. Talk about how that's evolved through your time in Keller. 'Cause how many years have you been in Keller ISD?
I've been in Keller for 13 years now.
Okay. So how has that evolved since the time you started in Keller to now?
Ooh, so intervention counseling has really expanded our entire counseling program. We do have our professional school counselors, and their roles even look a little different over the years, and where they have expanded past guidance and academic and continue to do lots of social emotional responsive services in addition to career counseling and college readiness. And we've even got those things happening at the lower levels in our school district. And then you have this supplemental piece with intervention counseling, licensed counselors that do more psychoeducational work with students, individual work, groups, work with families. So there's a whole family systems approach. So we're better able to address the whole child. We're better able to look at the mental health needs of children, whatever is causing any type of barrier to them sitting in class and learning. If there's something happening in the brain or the body,
Right.
we're able to address those things. And so it's evolved a lot. I think we stay at the forefront when it comes to things like that here in Keller ISD. And being able to work with our community. We have lots of community resources that we tap into, partnerships, coalitions. We have a lot of great things going on.
So you're actively involved in the creation of something else that we're doing in the district, and that's our threat assessment.
Correct.
How does that interplay with everything that you just said? Because threat assessment to me sounds like a reactive thing, just by the words. But I know it's not based on how you've described it in the past. So talk a little bit about what we do in Keller and what you're trying to accomplish by using that as a way of being proactive instead of reactive.
So our threat assessment was really created on a preventative platform because we are looking at indicative behaviors and we're looking at those things that need to be assessed prior to someone actually would act out in a threatening manner. When you look at the research with school shooters, there's always and usually a mental health component. And so what safety and security and intervention counseling did is we got together to create something that would assess the aftermath and address it in the event that it happened, but also look at it from a preventative nature and try to assess and look at those behaviors that needed to be addressed and how we could incorporate resources and fill gaps, identify those gaps, and provide services to the student and family and with wraparound services. And the key is that if we can wrap services around this student who is at risk and verbalizing or doing things of a threatening nature and provide services to that student and family, then we are realistically protecting all of the students on that campus or in the district.
This is going to be the harder question because it's going to force you to think back over the 13 years and all the work you've done. Obviously, without naming any names, is there a student that comes to mind that has been your success story? That has, as you've seen the implementation of the intervention work that you've done, that you've thought that you could go back to and say, yes, that that was a win?
I have a kid who I would say most people had given up on, and I did this job on my own for years where I was at campuses doing interventions, and I was called to do an intervention with a young man who was in middle school at the time. There was gang-related activity, significant drug and alcohol abuse, lots of depression and anger. Through various interventions with this young person, never given up, even though they tested me various times because most people in their lives had given up on them and they were estranged from their parents at the time. You continue to work with them, visit them at school, get them back into treatment over and over again. And about the fourth time, after an arrest and treatment, this young man made a significant turnaround. And to this day, and he wouldn't mind if I shared it. I just went to his wedding about a month ago.
That's awesome.
And at one point he said, I made a decision that if I wasn't going to do it for myself, I was going to do it for you. And so whatever it takes, it doesn't matter, but I believe his life and the trajectory that he has gone today is way different than it would have been had there not been intervention services placed.